All you need for this painting is any old tablet. I am using an old iPad at this moment, but you can use any Android tablet. This particular software and these styluses work with any tablet, any phone. I have two options for stylus. One is this option. This is a capacitive stylus, which you see it has these kind of nib. These kind of things are even easier. So you see this rubber tip on top. This can also be used to draw on the surface of your tablet or your phone. So you start by building up the background colors. This will also teach you how to make gradients in your painting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a brush. I'm selecting the ink brush because I want sharp ink. One tip for beginner artists who are starting out with digital art is stick to only like 2 to 3 brushes at the most, so that you don't get confused. It just helps you get used to brushes and the settings and drawing in general. So I'm going to go here. I have actually selected from the color, I have selected these color boxes. This is easier than the color wheel, so that you can exactly choose this color as you paint along with me. So first you go to the first box, which is yellow and yellow orange. Go to this row over here and select this cream color. Right? And I have my ink brush. You can increase or decrease the size of the brush from here. And this is the opacity slider. I will keep the opacity as high at this moment. I'm making it a bit small so that I can drag the color around like so. Here we go. Then I'm going to this box right here. This is blue green, and I'm going to select this green color over here, and I'm going to draw this. At this moment I'm just drawing harsh lines. Then I'll show you how to blend it out and make it into a gradient. Then I'm taking this darker color. So we start with a bit of yellow for the sand. Then half of the canvas is blue-green. Then I'm switching to blue, and then I'll start with a more bluish green color, and then I'll build up to a darker blue. So I'll first start with this one over here. Then I'm selecting this one. And now I'm going to take like a bright blue, which is this. Once I have it, I'm going to tip on that, go back to the brush library, and you are going to go all the way over to the top under the basic section and select the smudge paint. And I will show you my brush settings. I have kept the size at high. Flow should be really low, but the strength should be high. What this means is, if the flow is low, the color will not be dragged that much, but if the strength is high, it will blend with each other really well. I'm going to go over through the junction point of all these colors and blend them. I'm keeping a light hand. Alright, looks good to me. And now we can proceed to the next step. I'm going to create a layer on the top. I'm clicking the plus sign over here to create a layer. Now I'm going to change my brush because I want to draw the waves. So I'm switching to this brush over here, which is called the sharp glaze, and I'm going to switch to a light blue color, and I'm picking the one over here. I'm still in the blue section, but I'm taking a really light blue color. One tip for beginner artists is that never select a pure white. You will be tempted to do so, but don't do that, because nothing in the world is really pure white. So just have a lighter or darker version of a color to denote white or black really gives some character to your painting. So I'm going to zoom in, and first I'm going to draw the edge of the wave right on this particular layer. I'm keeping the size of the brush a bit smaller and the opacity is high, and I'm going to just draw some squiggly lines over here. Then I'll create one more layer on top and draw the second layer of waves. Alright, one more layer on top and the third layer of waves. So we have the 3 layers of wave. I'll go back down to the first layer of wave. I'm going to take a lighter brush, which is, I'm going to take one of these pastel brushes over here, which is called the soft wash, and I'm going to select slightly darker color, which is this one, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to draw this little bit of wash of the waves here. Right, I'm going to do the same in this particular layer. I'm going to increase the flow a little bit. This is just helping you build up the colors. Go back. Now I'm going to take a blender from here. So I'm taking this blending brush from the artist section, and I'm going to make this softer. I'm going to increase this a bit, increase the flow a bit. I'm going to make this very soft. Now you have these 3 soft layer of waves, and now we can proceed to the next step. I will go back to the artist section. I'm going to take this brush, art pencil medium over here, and I'm going to switch back to this light color which I was using earlier. I'm going to go back to the first layer of the waves, and now I'm going to draw make sure it creates some loops, because that's how waves are typically. Alright, I'm going to go back to the second layer and do the exact same thing. Basically, the idea is to draw some scraggly lines, but create this roundish shapes, and you will have to go back and thicken some of those lines later, but I'll do it in the step 3. First, we just draw the lines. Always draw the edge first. Correct. I think we have our scraggly loops. Now we are going to proceed to thickening some of these lines. So I'm going to zoom in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some of these lines a bit thicker. You're going to keep most of the thicker lines towards the edge of the wave because that part is the most foamy. Right? And now I'm going to draw a few thinner lines . I'm going to do the same in the wave number 2 and wave number 3. Now we have our waves. What we are going to do is rub off a little bits and pieces of it to give it a bit more natural shape. So I'm going to take eraser, but I'm going to take this one over here which has this tapered end, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here and rub up some parts of it. Once we have rubbed off, we are going to smoothen the edges out. So I'm going back to the blending over here, or you can actually take one of the super soft blender pastels as well. I'm going to keep the flow as low and the size also small so that I can blend the edges out. I'm also going to soften some of these scraggly lines over here. That's what I'm going to do. Each of the layers. Get bigger. Add some splatter. So I'm going to create a layer on top of all the layers. I'm going into shape and I'm selecting this drops brush over here, and I'm selecting this whitish blue color. Actually you can stick to the previous color as well if you want. I just want a little bit more variations, so I'm selecting a slightly different color, and I'm going to add a few drops here and there. And once I have that, I do want some color variations in between the waves. So I'm going to go back to this base layer and I'm going to take a slightly darker color from this blue-green section, which is this, and I'm going to change the brush. To a soft wash from the pastel section. And I'm going to just add a few of these darker edges over here. And now I'll change back to the super soft blender brush and I'm going to blend this out. I'm going to add a few more colors so that there are some variations, and I'll keep on blending it out. I'm going back to the blending brush so that I can put everything together. I still feel the sand looks a bit off, so I'm going to go and add some color here as well. I'm going back to this section. This was my sand color. I want to take a more desaturated version of that. I'm going to take this probably, and I'm still sticking to the super soft blender, and I'm going to add a bit more interest on the side. And I'll go back to my blending brush and I'm going to blend everything out. I'm keeping a very light hand so that there is some interest. Now I want to add some color back over here. So again, I'm going back to the blue section, and maybe I'm going to take a blue color and I'm going to just make some lines over here. Maybe increase the flow a little bit. Going back to the blending brush. Smudge everything out. I'm keeping a bit of texture, not smudging everything out very smoothly, so that you can still feel like the waves. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep on adding a bit of color variations on the edge of the waves. Just makes it look better, and maybe in the middle of the waves as well. I'm still keeping the super soft blender so that I can work with it. I'm going to do the same thing over here, so I'm going back here, taking a dark color. Alright, our painting is complete. If you like my painting tutorials and you really want to learn how to paint like me, please do like, share and subscribe. That will really help me out in making more and more tutorials for you guys. And see you guys next time. Bye bye.